The stars shimmered coldly over the outer rim colony of Vega Prime, a small, resource-rich planet largely ignored by the Galactic Concord central authorities. And on the surface, the humans went about their lives, tending domed farms, maintaining orbital satellites, and coordinating mining operations with quiet precision, completely unaware, or perhaps purposefully indifferent, to the whispers of the alien scouts hovering just beyond the exosphere, their sleek, iridescent hulls reflecting Vega Prime's twin suns, their sensors meticulously recording the seemingly trivial routines of a species the Concord considered negligible, laughable even, for reports had called them primitive, disorganized, and dangerously unambitious. And yet, as Ambassador Threxel the Skarn collective leaned over the command console of his cruiser, his mandibles clicking in amusement, he could not resist commenting to his aides that watching humans maneuver their tiny drones in perfect synchronization was almost comical, the patterns barely worthy of a species with such limited reach, while Captain Arliss of the Concord battle fleet, stationed nearby in his monolithic warship, grinned with contempt, tapping his claws against the polished surface and declaring the humans a petty nuisance, certain that any attempt to engage them militarily would be as effortless as swatting an insect. Yet as days passed, subtle anomalies began to ripple through the readings the aliens had deemed unworthy of. Notice small deviations in energy signatures that hinted at hidden infrastructure, rapid communications that defied expected latency, and construction project that expanded with a speed and coordination the Scout had been programmed to dismiss as impossible, and by the time the first human response team arrived to investigate a minor orbital collision, they were met with a demonstration that left the alien sensors reeling. Swarms of automated repair drones, guided by a network of quantum processes undetectable by conventional Concord scanners, not only repaired the damaged station in hours but restructured critical components in ways that rendered their original design obsolete, and Ambassador Threxel's amusement faltered into disbelief as he observed, through layers of sensor data, the human's ability to adapt, predict, and counteract with calm decisiveness that seemed almost alien in itself. While back on Vega Prime, human engineers worked tirelessly yet with an ease that belied the magnitude of their achievement, and in their labs, a team led by Commander Elena Vasquez was already preparing the next phase, a subtle, strategic deployment of orbital defense satellites and cloaked energy interceptors that would make the Concord fleets think twice before mocking or underestimating the people of Earth again, all executed with precision born from centuries of necessity and resilience, a quiet but lethal reminder that the galaxy had misjudged humanity's capacity for innovation, endurance, and tactical genius, and when the Skarn Scout attempted a routine scan the following cycle, they were met with a cascading sequence of interference patterns so sophisticated that even their advanced AI struggled to interpret, signals folding in upon themselves, sensor readings looping into infinite regress, and it became clear that what they had assumed was primitive was in fact deliberately concealed mastery. And as the first formal communication from the humans reached the alien fleets, not through the usual channel, but via a series of cryptic but unmistakably authoritative data bursts, the message was simple yet chilling. We have observed you long enough. Your judgment of us has been erroneous. And in that moment, the mockery dissolved into apprehension, the laughter replaced with murmurs of alarm, and for the first time in recorded interstellar history, a galactic power recognized that they were dealing with a force that was patient, precise, and devastatingly underestimated, and even as human diplomats extended the formal invitation for dialogue, the Concord and Skarn commanders were already calculating worst-case scenarios, trying to understand how they had so profoundly misread a species whose true capabilities were only beginning to unfold, all while on Vega Prime. Elena Vasquez stood at the observation deck of the central station, her eyes on the stars, her mind calculating not conquest, but a measured demonstration of humanity's strength, knowing full well that when the moment came, the galaxy would witness a power it had never imagined, and that the humans, long dismissed as insignificant, would rise not with reckless aggression but with the unyielding certainty of a species that had survived, adapted, and now, finally, demanded to be recognized for the force it truly was.
The next cycle brought the first official reconnaissance fleet of the Concord directly above Vega Prime, sleek warships glinting with energy shields and bristling with plasma turrets, confident in their superiority and laughing at the mere presence of human orbital stations they had been briefed were primitive and poorly defended. Yet as the fleet entered orbit, Their long-range scanners began reporting anomalies that initially were dismissed as sensor glitches, minor fluctuations in gravitational readings, unexplained energy discharges, and signal distortions that seemed to originate from the very surface of the planet. And on the ground, Commander Elena Vasquez and her team monitored the fleet through their own arrays, their expressions calm, their hands steady as they initiated protocols that had been meticulously prepared for this exact scenario. A quiet ballet of calculated maneuvers designed to reveal humanity's hidden capabilities without triggering full-scale aggression, the orbital defense satellites activating in a sequence invisible to conventional detection, drones dispersing into patterns that created deceptive decoy signatures, cloaked interceptors aligning along potential approach vectors, and automated countermeasures preparing to disable only, the fleet's communications rather than its structural integrity. A deliberate demonstration meant to unsettle rather than destroy, and as the Concord commanders watched their communications falter, alarms blinking without explanation, Ambassador Threxel's mandibles clicked nervously, his confidence faltering as he realized that these humans, previously mocked for their technological backwardness, had anticipated every standard tactic and prepared countermeasures that exceeded even the most optimistic projections in their databases, while Captain Arliss issued hasty orders to recalibrate sensors, only to find that every attempt to penetrate the orbital perimeter was met with patterns of interference and automated precision adjustments that made their probes ineffective, and in the midst of this silent confrontation, Elena convened her top engineers, scientists, and tactical officers in a command room humming with energy, outlining the next phase. Controlled demonstration of human ingenuity, leveraging predictive algorithms, quantum encryption networks, and adaptive defense mechanisms that would leave the aliens scrambling to understand the scale of miscalculation. And as the first probes from the fleet approached the automated defense network, they were caught in a sequence of responses so subtle yet devastatingly efficient that one by one the fleet's systems reported anomalies, energy surges that temporarily disabled navigation, communications, and targeting arrays, causing minor panic aboard vessels that had been programmed to underestimate humans, while the humans on the planet observed with clinical precision, tracking every reaction, noting every moment of hesitation, every microsecond of confusion in the alien systems, and even as the aliens attempted to communicate, the humans chose their responses carefully, conveying competence, control, and patience, not arrogance, allowing the Concord commanders to perceive that they were facing an intelligence capable of foresight and strategy, and slowly, the mood shifted from amusement to apprehension, from dismissal to uncertainty, because for the first time, the aliens confronted evidence that they were dealing with a civilization whose strength was not just in technology, but in foresight, coordination, adaptability, and a deep understanding of their own vulnerabilities and strengths. And as night fell over Vega Prime's surface, the twin suns casting long shadows across the domed cities and sprawling landscapes, the humans continued their work with quiet efficiency, their actions deliberate, their intentions clear but measured. And in the alien fleets above, the realization sank in that the laughter, the mockery, and the dismissal had been premature, and that the planet below, seemingly ordinary and harmless, was home to a species whose capacity for resilience, ingenuity, and controlled force had been hidden deliberately, now revealed in a measured demonstration that left the Concord questioning not just their intelligence assessments but the very assumptions upon which they had built decades of interstellar policy. And as Elena stood overlooking the city from the command observation deck, her mind traced the calculations and contingencies, knowing that the humans would strike only when necessary, that their power was strategic, patient, and deadly precise, a quiet storm waiting to be unleashed upon any who underestimated the true potential of humanity.
By the following rotation, the Concord fleet had fully mobilized, sending multiple cruisers to probe Vega Prime's atmosphere and orbital defenses, each ship bristling with advanced weaponry and equipped with the latest scanning arrays designed to detect any concealed threats, confident that no species as young and primitive as humanity could mount an organized defense. Yet from the surface, humans executed maneuvers so precise and coordinated that even the fleet's AIs struggled to process them. In real time, orbital drones creating holographic decoys and energy reflections that made the fleet believe they were engaging a force far larger than reality, while cloaked interceptors silently repositioned, creating layers of redundancy and contingencies that would have taken centuries for the aliens to anticipate. And inside the human command center, Commander Elena Vasquez coordinated every movement with a calm authority that belied the magnitude of the operation, her team executing quantum encrypted communications, predictive algorithms, and adaptive sensor networks to anticipate the fleet's every probe, anticipating missteps, analyzing every vector and countering it before the aliens could react. And as Ambassador Threxel observed through his viewing array, his confidence began to unravel, the mandibles that had once clicked in amusement now trembling with uncertainty. Because each attempt to test a human's defenses met with uncanny precision, revealing a tactical awareness and technological sophistication that far exceeded any prior intelligence estimates, and Captain Alice, who had long assumed human adaptability was limited, found himself questioning fundamental assumptions about their biology, culture, and cognitive speed, as if every human action on Vega Prime was choreographed with an almost preternatural understanding of their weaknesses, while back on the planet, human engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, ensuring that every subsystem, from defense satellites to orbital repair drones, was seamlessly integrated into a network capable of instant adaptation. And as the aliens attempted to advance closer, their sensors detected a sudden increase in energy output, artificial gravitational anomalies, and interference fields that subtly altered the trajectory of their probes, creating confusion and hesitation in ships programmed for precise efficiency. And yet, the humans did not strike lethally. Their intent was not to destroy but to demonstrate capability, to make the aliens aware that their assumptions had been catastrophically wrong. And as the fleet's command hierarchy debated strategy, internal dissent and panic began to spread. Commanders unable to explain the sudden failures and interference, officers arguing over whether this was a technological fluke, sabotage, or deliberate deception, while the humans on Vega Prime observed silently, gathering intelligence, measuring reactions, and preparing contingencies for every possible scenario, knowing that the real demonstration was yet to come, a display that would leave no doubt about the consequences of underestimating humanity. And as night cloaked the planet, the surface lights of the cities and stations shimmered like constellations, reflecting a species that was patient, disciplined, and quietly lethal. And in that moment, the aliens realized that they had misjudged not only human technology, but human strategic thinking, resilience, and the unique ability to integrate ingenuity with tactical foresight. And the first subtle tremors of fear rippled through the fleet as they began to comprehend that the species they had mocked was far from primitive, and that Vega Prime was not a minor colony to be brushed aside, but the epicenter of a hidden capability that, if fully unleashed, could redefine the balance of power across the galaxy. And as Elena Vasquez surveyed the situation, she knew that the humans were ready, that the patience, discipline, and planning of centuries had culminated in this moment of revelation, and that the Concord fleet above was witnessing only the very first demonstration of humanity's power, a carefully measured display that would forever alter the perception of what it meant to underestimate an entire species, leaving the alien commanders to face the unnerving reality that their arrogance and mockery had led them to the precipice of a confrontation whose outcome they could no longer control or predict, and that the humans below were prepared to defend themselves and their allies with precision, intelligence, and a power that no one in the galaxy had anticipated. As the days progressed, the Concord fleet began to realize the depth of their miscalculation. Every tactical probe and reconnaissance attempt met with responses so precise and adaptive that confusion and frustration rippled through the alien command structures, while the humans on Vega Prime continued their work with an almost ritualistic precision, managing orbital defense arrays, cloaked interceptors, and decoy holographic networks that interacted seamlessly with sensor feedback, creating the illusion of overwhelming numbers and capabilities. And Commander Elena Vasquez coordinated each maneuver with calm authority, her team responding to every possible alien tactic in real time, calculating contingencies within milliseconds and deploying countermeasures that left the aliens guessing, while Ambassador Threxel's initial amusement had completely vanished, replaced by a gnawing dread as he observed humans exploiting weaknesses in the fleet's automated systems, revealing that the species they had dismissed as inconsequential possessed an uncanny ability to predict, manipulate, and outmaneuver advanced technology that had been assumed unassailable. And on the bridge of Captain Alice's flagship, crew members exchanged anxious glances as automated drones intercepted communications, scrambled targeting arrays, and produced localized gravitational distortions that forced course corrections and disrupted formation integrity, while the humans on the surface executed precise calculations to avoid any unnecessary escalation, their intent clear: demonstration over destruction, control over chaos, and the reinforcement of a singular truth that the galaxy had long ignored, that humanity, far from weak or backward, had evolved an intelligence and adaptability that allowed them to anticipate every move and exploit every error without unnecessary aggression. And as Ambassador Threxel convened an emergency council, the fleet's AI systems continued reporting anomalies they could neither explain nor counteract. Sensor readings looping into apparent contradictions, energy fluctuations that defied physics as the aliens understood them, and subtle manipulations of gravitational vectors causing unplanned drift and stress across multiple hulls. And the humans, aware of every effect, monitored the results carefully, logging responses, and adjusting countermeasures to maximize the impression of overwhelming competence while minimizing risk. And on the planet, Elena reviewed the data with her top officers, each decision a calculated balance between strategic pressure and ethical restraint, knowing that their goal was not annihilation but revelation, a controlled unveiling of humanity's latent power that would leave the Concord and Skarn fleets no room to underestimate them again, while the alien commanders, their confidence eroding with each passing hour, struggled to reconcile the evidence before them with decades of assumptions about human capability. And as night fell once more over Vega Prime, the city lights and orbital stations glimmered with disciplined activity, a testament to humanity's coordination, foresight, and silent strength. And though the Concord fleet remained in orbit, poised for confrontation, the realization had begun to spread among them that they had underestimated a species whose patience, intelligence, and adaptive power were unparalleled, and that Vega Prime was not merely a colony but a bastion of human ingenuity and tactical mastery, and that any action taken against it without careful consideration would not provoke weakness but an orchestrated and unstoppable response. And as Elena stood at the observation deck, gazing at the alien fleet above, she understood that the first stage of revelation had succeeded. The galaxy had begun to witness the consequence of mockery, and humanity, calm, precise, and patient, was preparing to teach the universe a lesson it would never forget. By the fifth cycle, the Concord fleet had fully grasped the severity of their misjudgment. Every attempt to probe human defenses met with adaptive countermeasures that seemed almost predictive, while on Vega Prime, the humans operated with a quiet precision that masked the immense power they were wielding. Commander Elena Vasquez coordinating orbital drones, energy interceptors, and quantum communication relays with flawless timing, ensuring that every alien maneuver was anticipated, every strategy counted, and every reaction logged for analysis. And as Ambassador Threxel fleet scanned the planet, their sensors registering strange energy fields, gravitational distortions, and localized interferent patterns, panic began to ripple through the ranks, officers questioning previous intelligence, their arrogance replaced by a creeping fear, while Captain Alice attempted to issue orders to re-establish control, only to find his command interface sporadically disrupted, navigation recalibrated without explanation, and communications intercepted in ways that revealed tactical miscalculations. And the humans, fully aware of each effect, monitored their operations with surgical precision, ensuring no unnecessary damage while simultaneously demonstrating a strength and intelligence that left the aliens scrambling to understand the scale of misjudgment. And in the planetary command center, Elena conferred with her top tactical advisors, refining strategies that would display human ingenuity, adaptability, and ethical restraint, balancing the need for demonstration with the imperative of measured response, while the Concord officers, now fully aware that the species they had dismissed as insignificant was capable of unprecedented coordination and tactical mastery, struggled to contain growing hysteria, some suggesting withdrawal, others attempting desperate measures to probe weaknesses that simply did not exist. And as orbital satellites repositioned and cloaked, interceptors executed complex maneuvers to create the illusion of overwhelming force. The aliens realized that every calculation they had relied upon was fundamentally flawed, their arrogance and mockery transforming into apprehension as they understood that human strategic thinking combined with technological prowess was something they could neither predict nor counteract. And on the planet's surface, engineers, scientists, and military officers continued their work with calm determination, monitoring every movement in orbit, adjusting energy fields, cloaking devices, and defense grids with meticulous care, ensuring that the humans' demonstration of power was complete, precise, and undeniable, while the alien commanders convened frantic councils to debate the anomalies that defied logic, their confidence crumbling as each probe and assault was intercepted or redirected with mathematical perfection. And as night blanketed the planet, Vega Prime glowed with controlled energy, a silent signal of latent power and unmatched coordination, and Elena, gazing at the stars from the observation deck, understood that humanity had successfully conveyed its strength without striking a blow, that the Concord and Scan fleets had witnessed a species capable of unmatched foresight, patience, and adaptability, and that the universe had begun to acknowledge a truth long ignored, that humans, underestimated and mocked, were a force whose reach, strategy, and latent power could not be trivialized, and that the time had come for the galaxy to reckon with the consequences of underestimating a species that had always been far stronger than it appeared. As the standoff entered its sixth cycle, the Concord and Scan fleets had begun to understand that their early assumptions about humanity were catastrophically flawed, their advanced weaponry and tactical doctrines failing against a species that combined ingenuity, patience, and adaptability in ways previously unrecorded. While on Vega Prime, Commander Elena Vasquez orchestrated the human forces with calm authority, each orbital drone, cloaked interceptor, an energy field operating in flawless synchrony, exploiting the fleet's every miscalculation. And as Ambassador Threxel analyzed sensor feeds, he observed human maneuvers that defied conventional strategy, a seamless integration of prediction, counteraction, and restraint that left the alien officers scrambling for explanations, while Captain Allah struggled to maintain cohesion among his vessels as navigation anomalies, communication disruptions, and localized energy distortions rendered standard tactics ineffective. And, on the planet, human scientists refined a network of quantum processes controlling defense and surveillance, ensuring that every probe, every approach, and every signal from the alien fleet was counted or observed without risking unnecessary escalation, and despite the growing tension above, the humans acted with discipline and clarity, their actions deliberate, precise, and measured, demonstrating a level of strategic foresight that revealed not just technological superiority but cognitive mastery. And as the alien fleets debated desperate measures, the humans executed a controlled display of energy manipulation and orbital coordination, creating the illusion of overwhelming numbers and strength without firing a shot, a demonstration so sophisticated that it destabilized the aliens' confidence entirely, forcing them to confront the terrifying reality that every prediction, every tactical advantage they assumed they held, had been anticipated and neutralized, and the psychological impact rippled through the command hierarchies, sowing doubt, fear, and the first seeds of humility. While on Vega Prime, Elena oversaw the final stages of the demonstration, the human true capabilities poised to be revealed in full, a measured yet undeniable force that will compel recognition from the galaxy. And as the twin suns set, casting long shadows across domed cities and sprawling landscapes, the aliens were left to ponder the consequences of their hubris, their arrogance shattered by the realization that humans, long dismissed as insignificant, had mastered patience, strategy, and technology in ways that rendered traditional notions of power obsolete. And as Elena gazed across the observation deck of the silent alien fleets hovering above, she knew that the moment of revelation was near, that humanity's restrained power was about to be unleashed in a calculated and decisive manner, ensuring that the galaxy would never again underestimate a species that had long been quietly preparing to demonstrate its true potential, and that the Concord, Scan, and all who witnessed will forever remember the day when the underestimated rose, not with blind aggression, but with deliberate, overwhelming intelligence and strategic might, rewriting the rules of engagement across the stars and solidifying humanity's place as a formidable, unyielding force in a galaxy that had foolishly mocked it. The moment of revelation arrived with precision that left the Concord and Scan fleets reeling, as Vega Prime's orbital defenses, previously concealed and calibrated to perfection, executed a symphony of energy manipulation, cloaked maneuvers, and quantum signal projection that rendered the alien fleets effectively powerless to predict, counter, or even understand the scale of human capability. And from the surface, Commander Elena Vasquez and her team observed the culmination of years of preparation, every drone, satellite, and interceptor operating in seamless harmony, creating an illusion of infinite forces that pressed upon the fleets with unrelenting precision. And as Ambassador Threxel's eyes widened in disbelief, the magnitude of the error in underestimating humanity became undeniably clear, the arrogance that had fueled mockery giving way to a cold, knowing fear, while Captain Arliss, struggling to maintain command cohesion, realized that every conventional tactic, every doctrine and strategy developed over centuries, was now obsolete in the face of a species that had mastered foresight, adaptability, and controlled force of perfection. And on the planet's surface, Elena initiated the final phase, a controlled demonstration that highlighted humanity's ability to defend, protect, and, if necessary, dominate without unnecessary aggression. The energy fields and orbital drones creating patterns that communicated a singular message across the void, that humanity would not be underestimated, mocked, or provoked without consequence. And as the alien commanders attempted to respond, they found their movements anticipated, their communications intercepted, and their fleet destabilized in ways that forced complete reassessment of everything they had believed about the humans, while back on Vega Prime, engineers and scientists monitored every effect, calculating, adjusting, and refining in real time to ensure maximum demonstration with minimal harm. And the psychological impact on the fleets was immediate and profound, a recognition that the underestimated species below possessed not only technological superiority but strategic, cognitive, and adaptive capabilities that far exceeded all prior projections. And as a starlit sky reflected across Vega Prime's domes and cities, the humans stood as a quiet but undeniable force, disciplined, patient, and lethal in their precision. And in that moment, the Concord and Scarn fleets understood that the universe had misjudged humanity for centuries, that every mockery and dismissal had been a fatal error, and that the species they had thought weak and insignificant was, in fact, a master of strategy, resilience, and controlled power, capable of altering the balance of galactic dynamics in a way no one had anticipated. And as Elena gazed into the expanse of stars, she recognized that humanity's message had been delivered with clarity and restraint, that the galaxy would never again take them lightly, and that the underestimated humans of Earth, long patient, precise, and brilliantly adaptive, had finally unveiled a power so formidable that it will be remembered across civilizations, forever redefining what it meant to provoke, challenge, or confront a species that had quietly, deliberately, and masterfully prepared to assert its rightful place among the stars, ensuring that the day the aliens mocked humanity would be recorded not as a moment of triumph for the Concord, but as the day they realized the terrifying cost of underestimating a species whose true potential had always been far greater than anyone could imagine.